All right, hello everyone. This is CircuitPython Weekly for Monday, June 30th, 2025. It's time of the week where we get together to talk about all things CircuitPython. I'm Liz. I'm sponsored by Adafruit to work on CircuitPython. CircuitPython is a version of Python designed to run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. CircuitPython development is primarily sponsored by Adafruit, so if you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, consider purchasing hardware from adafruit.com. This meeting is hosted on the Adafruit Discord server. You can join anytime by going to adafruit.it/discord. We hold the meeting in the CircuitPython dev text channel and the CircuitPython voice channel. This meeting typically happens on Mondays at 2 p.m. US Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, except when it coincides with a US holiday. In the notes doc, there's a link to a calendar you can view online or add to your favorite calendar app. We also send notifications about upcoming meetings via Discord. If you would like to receive these notifications, ask us to add you to the CircuitPythonistas Discord role. There is a shared notes document that accompanies the meeting and recording. You can contribute to this document beforehand. Final notes document includes timestamps to go along with the video, so you can use the doc to skip around and view the parts of video that interest you most. The meeting tends to run 30 to 60 minutes. After each meeting, we post a link to the next meeting's notes document to the CircuitPython dev channel on Adafruit Discord. Check the pinned messages, find latest notes doc so you can add your notes for the following meeting. If you wish to participate but cannot attend, you can leave hug reports and status updates in the document for us to read during the meeting. And this meeting is held in 5 parts. First part is community news. Second part is state of CircuitPython libraries and Blinka. Third part is hug reports. Fourth part is status updates. And the fifth part is in the weeds. And with that, we will get started with community news. So, MicroPython ported to Motorola 68,000 based Macs. Our friend and colleague Jeff Epler has ported MicroPython 1.26.0 preview to older Macintosh computers running Motorola 68,000 processors pre-1994. And that link comes from both Mastodon and GitHub. And then CircuitPython School. Have you been looking for an easy way to learn CircuitPython? Check out the videos by Professor John Gallagher of Boston College. His CircuitPython School videos are especially helpful. And I'll also say that John Gallagher is just a very nice guy, does a lot with CircuitPython, just super cool. And then Project of the Week, IINTS, the open source insulin pump for Raspberry Pi Pico. Rune Bobayers designed and built a fully open source insulin pump from scratch, having long been fascinated by the medical technology that helps keep me alive, especially insulin pumps. It uses MicroPython on a Raspberry Pi Pico, controlling insulin delivery using stepper motors and a user-friendly interface. And there's a really great article on Raspberry Pi News, highly recommend, and also the source is on GitHub. And these news items and more are available in our weekly Python for Microcontrollers newsletter, which goes out via email on Monday mornings. Visit adafruitdaily.com to subscribe to the newsletter. Thanks to Anne for putting the newsletter together. If you have any Python on hardware project to share or find content you'd like to see included, please consider contributing to the newsletter. You can email cpnews@adafruit.com with a link, hashtag CircuitPython, or tag an engineer on Blue Sky, Mastodon, or X. Or finally, you can also open a PR on GitHub in the CircuitPython Weekly newsletter repository. And that is community news. Next up is the state of CircuitPython libraries and Blinka. This is a quantitative overview of the entire project. Gives us a chance to look at the health of the project separate from our status updates. We'll talk about the project overall, then separately discuss the core, libraries, and Blinka. So first up, overall, there were 23 pull requests merged by 8 authors. Some folks that don't get mentioned in live field, Mikey Sklar, HR Farmer, Niradoc, and then 9 reviewers, Tektrick, Nate in Action, Niradoc Gen, Jerry Needell, and other folks, and then 12 closed issues by 7 people, 13 opened by 10 people. And now we'll hear from Dan about the core.
Okay, thanks, Liz. In the last week in the core, at CircuitPython itself, there were 2 pull requests merged by 2 authors, WebLate, which is the automated translation system, and Foamy Guy, and 1 reviewer, that was me. We've got 24 open pull requests right now, still less than 25, so it fits on 1 page. from GitHub. There was one issue closed by one person and 5 opened by 3 people. So we've got some new issues to look at. There are now 779 open issues. We organize issues by milestones. So for instance, we have 26 open issues that are marked as milestone 10.0.0, which is for the upcoming 10.0.0 release. Those are things that we want to get done for that release. And there's one issue for some minor release after 10.0 or bug fix release after 10.0, and 44 open issues for 10.x.x, which is any time during the 10 release cycle. And then we've got 7 issues open for 11. Those are things that we probably want to defer from 10 because they're incompatible changes or similar. And then there are other categories like long-term and libraries and so forth. And we don't have any issues that haven't been triaged and assigned a milestone yet. So that's good. I don't have to do that today. All right, that's it.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll hear from Tim about the libraries.
All right, this section covers all the CircuitPython libraries. They are split into 2 bundles. So we have the Adafruit library bundle, which has 365 libraries in it right now. And we have the community library bundle with libraries contributed by third parties. Right now, there are 165 libraries in that one for a total of 530 together. Over the past week for the Adafruit libraries, we had 18 pull requests merged by 6 different authors. The name that was on here that was newer or less frequent to my eye that I don't recognize was HR Farmer. So that person might be a newer or less frequent contributor, thanks to them, as well as all the folks, all the other of the 6 authors whose names do pop up a bit more frequently in these lists from week to week. We had 7 reviewers, thanks to them. Again, the one name here that I didn't recognize was Nate in Action, so thanks to them for doing a PR review this week. Appreciate the help, as well as reviews from all the other folks who are doing reviews more regularly. Of the merged pull requests, there was one that was getting up there. The oldest one was 93 days in HTTP server library, and the rest were all 1 day old. That leaves us at the end of the week with 45 pull requests open. The oldest one of those is a draft that is 1,047 days right now. The newest one is 2 days. And then issues-wise, over the past week, we had 6 issues closed by 5 different people, 7 new issues opened up by 6 people, and that leaves us with 723 issues right now. There are 3 of them currently that are labeled good first issues, which you can find listed over at circuitpython.org/contributing, which is the website where you should head if you are interested in getting involved in CircuitPython. When you first load that page, circuitpython.org/contributing, you'll find a list of open PRs, which is usually the first place that we point folks to who want to get involved. What you can do with this list is look through these are links over to GitHub, I should say. These are links to proposed changes in various CircuitPython libraries, and they're waiting for a person to come along and actually review the change and then leave a comment on GitHub letting us know how the change looks. So that could be you if you want to get involved. The way that you would do that is load the page, again, circuitpython.org/contributing, take a look through the list, find a library that you either know about or have some interest in. It's especially helpful if you do have the hardware for it, but it's not 100% required always. So find something in that list, click through to GitHub, and then you can take a look over the code. GitHub has a nice interface that shows you what was changed, what was added, what was subtracted. You can take a look there. You can also clone the repo and look at it locally. Especially if you do have the hardware, then you can clone it and try it out on your device. Once you have looked it over and potentially tried it out, leave a comment, like I said, there on GitHub. Let us know what you found when you looked it over. If there's anything that you think should change, leave that information in your comment. If you did try it out, let us know how that went. If you get comfortable with that process, you do it a couple of times, and you would like to get leveled up to leave official reviews on GitHub, we can work with you to do that. And then if you would like to start contributing some changes of your own, you can do that as well. So on circuitpython.org/contributing, if you click over to the issues section, by default, you'll be on the reviews, the PRs page, but if you click over to issues, you'll find a similar looking list of links, but these ones go over to GitHub to issues, so there is no proposed change that has been submitted yet. These are waiting for a person who's willing to actually work on that proposed change, and again, that could be you if you are interested in doing this. So To do issues, you would kind of take a similar start to the process, look through the list, find something you're interested in or that you know about, or especially if you do have the hardware for it. Again, that's very helpful if you're going to work on changes for that library. Click through to GitHub, read up on what the issue is, whether it's fixing a bug, adding a new feature or enhancement or a new example. And then you can submit your own pull request to resolve that issue. We do have a Learn Guide for contributing to CircuitPython using Git and GitHub. We also have folks who are around throughout the week who are more than happy to help you get spun up here on Discord. So if you are trying to contribute, whether that's reviewing pull requests or submitting your own pull requests to resolve issues, if you're having trouble with any part of the process, whether it is version control or Git or pre-commit or any of those things, just come say hi on the Discord. Let us know what you're up to in the Help with CircuitPython channel there, and folks would be more than happy to help you along. Updated libraries in the last week, HTTP server, PyBadger, and Sin6 libraries. And that's what we have got for libraries. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Tim. And now I'll read about Blinka. Blinka is our compatibility layer for CircuitPython on single-board computers like Raspberry Pi, and it had 3 pull requests merged by 1 author, Maker Melissa, and 4 reviewers, Tektrick, Maker Melissa, Dan Halpert, and Foamy Guy. There are currently 14 open pull requests. There were 5 closed issues by 2 people and 1 new issue opened. There are currently 153 open issues, and the number of supported boards is 162. And that is the state of CircuitPython, the libraries, and Blinka. Next up is Hug Reports. And Hug Reports is a chance to highlight folks in the CircuitPython community and beyond for doing awesome things. I will start and then we'll go down the list alphabetically. If you're text only or are missing the meeting, I'll read your notes when I get to them in the list. So I'm going to kick things off with a group hug, and then we'll hear from Dan.
Okay, I'd like to thank TAC, who works for Adafruit, for a quick review of a infrastructure change PR for TinyUF2, which is helping something I'll explain in status updates. Okay.
All right, thank you. And also thank you for working on that. And now we'll hear from Foamy Guy.
All right. I have Hug Reports this week, thanks to Dan for reviewing a bunch of PRs that were updating the API usage of OnDisk bitmap, and ditto, thanks to Anne for reviewing the same thing over in the Learn Guide repo. Appreciate both of them. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Now I'll read from Mark. Group hug. Life has gotten busy for the moment, but still around. Always good to hear from you, Mark. And that was Hug Reports. Next is Status Updates. So status updates is our time to tell folks what we were up to individually. I will go through a list alphabetically. And if the discussion becomes too long for status updates, we can move it to In the Weeds. This past week, I've been working on a few product guides. I updated the Tricolor 2.9-inch e-ink guide pages for the new revisions that went to the shop last week for the display and the feather wing. I also wrote the guide for the TPS 61169 constant current LED driver, which is currently in moderation, and that breakout's great if you've been looking for an easier way to power LED nudes and also those fun LED filaments we have in the shop that you can wire up in series. And then next, I'm going to be working on the guide and CircuitPython driver for the AS5600 breakout. And then for projects, I'm working on some code for a Raspberry Pi camera with a thermal camera overlay. And this uses the MLX 90640 breakout and will likely be published next week. And it will have a nice little GUI on it where you can adjust the opacity of the overlay and some other controls too that we're working on. And now we'll hear from Dan.
Okay. So I've been working on we're doing this thing where we're increasing the size of the firmware partition on Espressif boards that have USB, or actually not even just USB anywhere, but and we're doing it kind of in an upward and compatible way. And so we're doing a few boards at a time. So we did it on one ESP32S3 board, the plain feather, and then we're now going to do it on the rest of our ESP32S3 boards. And so as part of this, there's the factory reset page, which is the page in the guide each guide for these boards needed updating because it's got to point to some new versions of TinyUF2 and also have explanatory text. So I took the opportunity of going through that page, which it's a templated page, which means that it's duplicated. There's actually one master page and it's duplicated everywhere else with changes. And so I reworked that to bring it up to date and to fix some minor issues in it. And that page has been updated. It's going to get reviewed, but it is live already. And I need to link to the updated versions of the bootloaders. And once I do that, that'll be done. And there also is a place where the bootloaders live on Amazon S3. There's a link in the notes to where that is. And that's been reorganized. It used to be one huge flat directory that had more than 1,000 files in it. And now it's organized by board name, so it's a lot easier to find things, and there's not just one huge list you have to paw through. And after I finish this, I'll continue with further 10.00 issues for this week and continuing. And that's for me.
All right, thank you. Now we'll hear from Foamy Guy.
All right. Last week I updated all of the libraries and a bunch of Learn project code. These were all things that were using an older API for on-disk bitmap from all the way back before CircuitPython 7.0. We had it so that on-disk bitmap you had to open the file explicitly first and then pass it in when you created it. But for a long time now, you've been able to just pass the file name and it opens internally. We had in the docs that we were going to deprecate the old way, but we never actually went back and did it. And I found these references recently. So I've updated all of those. There's no more code that does it this way. And then either later this week or next week, I will look into the core and figure out how to actually do the deprecation so that we will match what we had set out in the docs back then. I also this week I published the first version of Adafruit Color Terminal up to a repo on GitHub. This holds an extension for Terminal.io, the terminal class, and this one supports ANSI color escapes for subsets of the text. The built-in one, you can change the color of the whole thing all at once, but you can't do it more like a traditional terminal where you can have like one word be one color and the next word be the next color. This new library that I have published now supports that latter type of behavior where you can have different colors mixed and matched. I have been working on an IRC client app, which makes use of this color terminal. And last week I refactored that to use Dang, which is the curses-like framework for making terminal-based applications. So this is like a terminal-based IRC client. Aside from refactoring it, I also implemented the handling of keyboard input so that you can actually type and send messages now in the IRC client. And then next up, I'm going to look into commands to actually be able to control things like joining channels and kicking users and muting people and stuff like that. So that will be what I work on next for that project. Next couple of things I had, this morning I submitted a fix in Blinka Display.io that is resolving an issue that caused it not to work under Python 3.9, a little bit older version. It was using some typing syntax that wasn't supported, so that is updated now. It should be back to working. If anyone happens to use Blinka Display.io on that older Python and is able to test, let me know. I didn't actually test it out because I've got newer version than that, but. I also have been looking into support for custom fonts with terminal.io.terminal and realized this recently. I've been her with some examples of terminal code, and I had mentioned I thought it could work with custom fonts, but it turns out I was wrong. It does not work with all the custom fonts. I think there might be one kind that it works with, but I need to double check. And then I would like to look into the other custom fonts, like the ones that come from the Adafruit bitmap font library, and I'd like to see if I can add support for it. I don't know for sure if that will work out, but that's my intention. And then the last thing I have is this morning I found a weird issue with memory, like I'm raising a memory error, like it was running out of memory, but I figured out that I was able to kind of influence it by allocating more memory before trying. So I don't know. I think it's related to the way this device has two different types of RAM. But I basically put the reproducer and all the information I found into that issue so that we can look into that later. And that's what I have been up to. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. And that's going to wrap up status updates. Next up is In the Weeds. In the Weeds is an opportunity for long-form discussions that either come out of status updates or that folks have identified ahead of time. If you have any In the Weeds topics, please make sure they get added while we're discussing other things, so we're not waiting around to see if anyone has topics. Today, I actually have a quick topic. As mentioned in a previous meeting, there was discussion about doing a summer schedule for the meeting just to accommodate hosts and time off for the summer. So Dan, Tim, and I just met, and we are going to be having the meetings every 2 weeks starting in July. So after this meeting, it'll be Monday, July 14th will be the next one. But then starting back up in September, we'll go back to our normal, usual weekly schedule. But just for July and August, we're going to be meeting every 2 weeks. And of course, as usual, you can check the calendar, see if we're meeting, and also we will ping in Discord to remind folks when we are meeting, when we aren't meeting. So you'll stay informed, but just giving everyone a heads up, we'll be starting the summer schedule next month. And I think with that, unless anyone has anything to add, we can wrap up the meeting for today. All right, this has been CircuitPython Weekly for Monday, June 30th, 2025. Thank you to everyone who participated. If you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, and those of us that work on CircuitPython, consider purchasing from the Adafruit shop at adafruit.com. Video of this meeting will be released on YouTube at youtube.com/Adafruit, and the podcast will be available on major podcast services. It will also be featured in the Python for Microcontrollers newsletter. Visit adafruitdaily.com to subscribe. Next meeting will be held Monday, July 14th in 2 weeks for the summer schedule at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. This meeting is held on the Adafruit Discord, which you can join by going to adafruit.it/discord. To be notified about the meeting and any changes to the time or day, you can ask to be added to CircuitPythonista's role on Discord. And we hope to see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.